Con.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Hold on, I'll be right back. Hold
on. What? This brother here, boy. Hold up. Oh, snap. Did it send? Bruh.
What's that?
I was trying to share this joker to my thing.
Your email?
Nah, make a post on my story. But it deleted.
Another Wisdom Wednesday from the brothers at the Hopeful Elect. What's the title of this today?
Title today is going to be Pursuing a Spouse, man. Pursuing a spouse. I think it's a topic that everybody can relate to, you know, whether you related to it in the past or you're going through it right now, especially if you in the truth, man. I know it's a big topic in the truth. Not even I don't even want to say topic, man. It's a big phase in the truth, man. You know?
Yeah, and it's a phase that doesn't die down because brothers want multiple wives. So they're always in a primitive or in a state of finding.
That too. You know what I'm saying? It's always something about that first wife though, when you know you ain't ever had a wife before, that sends a man, you know what I'm saying, about to go crazy though. And
especially when you're trying to live righteous. Now, when you're not living righteous, it might seem kind of easy in the world because you're having fun, you're young, you're experiencing so many different other women or men. And but when you're righteous and it's time to do things for the Most High God and do them honorably, because it says marriage is honorable in all things. When it's righteous, you just know temptation is coming your way, and it almost gives you a feeling like you're being killed every moment you're not with somebody. Like, dang, do I gotta be a eunuch? Dang, do I gotta be like Paul? Dang, is that my lot? It's the last days. Am I gonna get one any day? Like, am I just gonna have to die?
Brother done froze, man.
I alone to hear.
You cut up. You said die alone. You said.
I said not die alone. You know, we're not gonna die, but you know, if you got eyes to see and ears to hear.
Hold up, man. I'm trying to share this on my story, but it's not trying to let me be great and keep deleting, man. So maybe this time it'll save. But shalom to the brother Yeshaya.
Shalom to the nation, man. All praise to the Most High. Mighty way to start the national fast, man.
Oh yeah, talk about that.
Y'all know something different though. Hey, look, brother don't got on the headset. Something else different? Brother background kind of different. All praise to the Most High, man. I hit me a 5-finger discount. Stole my wife iPad, so hey, through the spirit, man.
Hey man, that's through the spirit for sure. But definitely what you mentioned, bro. There it go. Should.
Yeah, Khan. Shalom to everybody joining on Wednesday, and mighty shalom to all the brothers and sisters who are taking part in the nationwide fast that brother Naquam from WFI solidified on one of his live streams. But
Khan, he was the one that who established this?
Yeah.
Khan, I think I was in the live. I was actually in the live where they was deciding it, and somebody had.
Brother need to get some Wi-Fi.
Huh?
You had chopped up again.
I said, my bad. I don't know what's going on with this Wi-Fi. I gotta pay the bill tomorrow, I think. But yeah, somebody was on the Quam's live or WFI Watchmen for Israel's live, and they had asked, when are we gonna do another nation fast? And he was just like, we haven't had one in a minute. We were just thinking about that through the spirit. We're gonna talk to some people, and then about a week later, they published it on Instagram and Facebook and all that. So,
Man. So facts, man. It's a nationwide fast. One of y'all brothers know the parameters of the fast? Like
no water, no food. It starts right now, sundown Wednesday night to sundown Thursday night.
So it's gonna mimic the Day of Atonement, right? But it's just a nation fast. I think it's a wonderful time to do it because I think everybody got something in their life that they need to fast for. If anything, it's a fast to help us get up out this captivity faster.
Not only that, a fast is needed because the Israelites are still being persecuted, and we're living in the end of the world, and we see everything happening like with Sri Lanka, how they're invading the capital. We see stuff happening with our presidents and our elected officials. We see stuff happening. In New York, they just spent money to give money from the government to what's it called? Nuclear awareness. You know what I'm saying? So they got a bunch of commercials and everything, as far as Russia is concerned and stuff like that. So, things is getting to the end, man.
Man. But with no further ado, man, we're gonna get into this lesson, man. We're back again with another lesson, man. I always enjoy doing these throughout the week, man. It keeps me sharp, and it's like another reunion, other than the Shabbat when we get together with my brothers. You feel me? And today, the lesson, like the brother said, was going to be on pursuing a spouse. So before
pursuing a spouse, you don't want to miss this. Hit the like button.
Like, comment, and subscribe, man. But yeah, before we get in that, let me salute in real quick, man, giving all honor and glory to the Most High God, right, who gave his only begotten Son, who our salvation is by, right, who we see as a instrument of salvation for the nations, as we like to say. I'm Brother Donal.
I'm Brother Yeshaya.
Brother Azrael.
And we are the hopeful elect, right? We do these videos to edify the nation and to make our calling and election sure that we can hopefully, be a part of the elect in the last days. But we dare not say that we're a part of that number, right? And so today's lesson, man, is going to be pursuing a spouse, man. It's a hot topic in Israel, right? Especially if you're in the truth. I might have to go change the temperature, bro. It's kind of freezing. My voice shaking. But no, I'm cold, bro. I'm cold, bro. I usually got like a jacket on. But yeah, man. This lesson kind of sparked interest in my head when a brother he slid in my D. I don't want to say that, but a brother came in my DMs and he asked me a question, and it was pretty much like, how do I go about, locking down a wife, and if I really want one, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we've all been in that spot before, And after we do this video, you guys let us know if you guys want to see a second video concerning once you lock that spouse down, what should you do? Or once you're ready to marry somebody, how do you be decent in order from that point on, right? And it's important to know these things that we're about to bring out today. I hope the brothers got their swords sharpened. I got a few precepts myself, and we're gonna try to edify the nation on this topic of trying to pursue a spouse, right? Especially in the truth, right? And and believe it or not, it's an easy thing to do, but it's not an easy thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So I know when you first precept, if any of your brothers want to make any opening statements, you know what I'm saying, you got the floor.
Hit the like button. You don't want to miss this.
Hey, Khan, let me bring. Well, hey, I'm gonna steal the spotlight for a second from the Akion, but I want to bring out a precept, right?
Khan.
I don't know if you probably got this in your chamber, so
I might.
Sirach 36-24, you got that in your chamber?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me see. I got verse 25, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, they both go together. You know, if you want to pull it, go ahead though. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got Sirach 20:63.
I want to get one precept before we jump. You know what I'm saying? Straight into it though.
Hold up.
Okay, go ahead.
One principal precept.
Hold up. I'm not about to pull a precept. I was just about to say a few words real quick. If I can, I would just like to say it was saying finding a spouse. It's a difficult time in this truth when you come into this truth. I know for those that already had a spouse or a significant other coming into the truth already, hey, all praises for that. That's a blessing. I know for a fact through my experience and through other brothers' experiences too. Also on this live, you know, it could be a heavy burden on especially a man trying to find a spouse, right? Because man, like the brother said, it's very easy, but it's very hard. And when you're without a spouse, it seems like you're never gonna get one, but then out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying, you'll have one. So just wanted to say that before we get into it. Brothers is gonna give you as much wisdom on this Wisdom Wednesday through the spirit of stuff that we've been through too, and stuff that we've seen and heard and helped counsel people on. You know what I'm saying? Most High will, like the brother said, this could be like another 3-part series, you know. So
Shalom, sis.
Shalom, sis. Khan, man, that's mighty through the spirit, man. Again, what video was that? Oh, we were talking about coming out of Greek culture and whatnot, but again, it's the same thing, man. We seem to be qualified to make this video, right? Not even saying 100% qualified, but just saying, you know what I'm saying, we can put a little bit of input on just because, you know, we've gotten some experience, because all three of us are married, right? And all three of us have children, this, that, and the third. So we just want to impart some of the wisdom that we have. No, I haven't been married for 30 years, you know what I'm saying? But just from the little things that we've been through ourselves, we have you know, information and wisdom that we can shed upon you as well. So
not only marriage wisdom, but also courting wisdom as well, because brothers on here have courted.
Well,
you know,
Con, and that's a mighty point too, because that's pretty much what this video is going to be more so geared to. Not exactly it's going to be in the stages of you trying to find a wife or you asking the Most High for a wife, in the beginning stages of being married, right? And then if we want to do a second one, we can do that, right? Hey, brother.
So Lucky, I even though I said courting, I want to go on record and tell people right now that courting is not in the Bible. A dating phase, a courting phase. I don't know if I'm stepping on your toes here. Am I?
No, I wasn't even gonna get into courting like that for real on the technicality, but I was just gonna go more so on how to do everything decently in order.
Cool.
But yeah, kind of what the brother's saying, man. You're not gonna find that term courting or anything like that in the Bible,
right? Because a lot of I know camps and congregation do it to govern the body of people that's under them. But when you look through the Bible, there are some people that got a wife in a day. Some people that got a wife in 14 years. Some people that got you know what I'm saying? So there's not a set rule for getting a spouse. Right. And it's not always the man has to go and pick the woman. Sometimes, like we see with Ruth, hey, look, the woman can put some effort in too. But without that being said, I'm a yield and let the brother do this thing on this.
Not everything through the spirit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get this first
spirit, brother. But through the spirit, brother, it's not.
Hey, people in the A, and I just want to go on the record to say that, hey, for the women too, man, we definitely going to elaborate a little bit, you know, when it comes to a woman seeking a spouse, because at the end of the day, you know, like the brother said, it's effort that's put in on both sides from the women and the men. So Most High willing, we speak as men, but the women, hopefully, you know, the Lord will let us speak his word, and that you'll be edified with trying to find a husband too.
Man, these brothers are spot on, man, because, you know, that's one thing that I wanted to make a point of emphasis when we go through these scriptures, right? Some of these scriptures might say, and men do this, right? Husbands do this, right? But when we look at these scriptures, right, we got to understand that a lot of these things are double to that which is, and it's also talking about how women should be too, right? You're not just gonna read the Bible and see man, he's commanding men to do all this. That means all the women are null and void. No, you're expected to do these things too, right? And so I'm gonna get this first precept on here, and I can read it unless one of you brothers want to read it.
I can read it if you share your screen. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse number 18.
Right.
And the Lord God said, we reading it as written for the lost sheep. And the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him.
Right. And so one thing I want to point out, right, is that it's okay to feel like, man, I want to have a rib, but I want to be a mighty man too. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to have that feeling like, you don't want to feel like, am I wrong for wanting a rib? Because the Most High God said it was not good that man should be alone. Right. He looked upon him and said it wasn't good. Right. So his plans, I'm actually, we can go to that one next. Right. I didn't have it down, but you got to understand his plans for you. Right. And his promises that he has for you to bring you to an expected end and whatnot. When he says that it's not good that man should be alone, he's already expecting you to acquire a wife, right? He's already expecting you to acquire a husband, right? You know what I'm saying? And so with these things, it's not you should never feel like you're taken away from God's will by wanting a rib that you don't have, or wanting a husband that you don't have, right? You about to pull a precept real quick?
This is Mark. This is Mark 11 and verse 24. If I could get to it. Mark Slakia. This is Mark 11, verse 24. And it reads, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Right? Big emphasis on what things soever you desire. So the Most High God said he wants us to pray for things that we desire. Right? I believe it was either in Ezekiel or Isaiah. He was mad at us because we didn't ask at his mouth. We ask all these other gods, do all these other rituals, do all these TikTok challenges, right? Right now, there's people doing TikTok challenges, putting certain, to keep it PG, putting certain things and wearing it on their wrists and their neck as perfume to attract a mate, to attract the opposite sex. You know what I'm saying? They're doing crystals. They're putting stuff in spaghetti. They're doing stuff like superstitious stuff with putting dollars in a shoe or something. If you leave clothes at your house, we do all these things, but we don't ask at the mouth of God, and that's why God is mad. So Mark 11:24, I'm gonna read it one more time. It says, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Right? So he wants us to desire, he wants us to pray for the things that we desire, but he wants us to ask him and not nobody else. And he'll give it to us. And another thing is, don't feel guilty, because guess what? Just like the Most High God wants us to be servants to his word, you got to understand he's a righteous judge, and he's bound by his own word, right? He's bound by his own law. If he promised you something and you pray for it, guess what? He got to give it to you, because he said that.
Right? Especially if it's in his will, right? It's in his will, like we just showed in Genesis, right? That it was bad for man to be alone, so he's gonna give him a helpmeet, which is a rib. It's in his will to give you a wife. It's in his will to give you a husband, right? It's in his will for you to be fruitful and multiply, right? So if definitely if it's in his will and you ask of him, he's gonna give it to you, right? But there's several things you got to do in order to receive rewards and blessings, right? Can somebody read this real quick?
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 37, and verse number 4.
Delight
thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart.
right? Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee desires of thine heart. So he wants to give you the desires of your heart, right? Not if you desire something wicked, though. Like we just said, if you're desiring something that's within his will, right? That's written, that's within his promises, right? He's gonna give that to you, but you got to show him what? That you're delighting yourself in him, right? And so we're gonna pull up some classics now. We gotta pull up some classics.
Hold up.
Go ahead.
And that goes so like that goes with I just read in Mark 11:24. Did I freeze?
You good now?
That goes with what that goes with what I just read in Mark 11:24. Because it says, delight yourself in the Lord. Don't delight yourself in all these other things and practices, right? Can you go to Google real quick just so we can show people what's going on in the world? And type in TikTok. TikTok. Dang, I forgot what it's called. Type in TikTok. Women. Get men.
Get men.
Because I know it's two different ones. It's two different things women are doing on TikTok.
They're doing that siren thing, and they're doing the
So y'all brothers on TikTok to know what's going on TikTok? That's what you telling me?
No,
nah, I don't have a TikTok.
I don't have it either. I'm on Twitter. That's why I don't know what it's saying. I don't even know what to type in on Google, my brother. Let me see something. Because I know it's two things women are doing. They're not delighting themselves in the Lord. They're not asking at the Lord's mouth. They're taking things in their own hands, right? Discover perfume for women to attract men.
You might just got to go ahead and tell them.
Hold up. It's called vapping. Go to VAPPING.
Thought that was for vaping. Vabbing. VABBING. VABBING.
VABB?
BB.
Oh, you have a TikTok.
No. Shout out to the sister that just put the word in the chat.
What'd she say? It's called what?
VABBING.
I wonder how she knows.
Yeah, I wonder how the sister knows.
Vabbing. Do they have like an overview? I wanted just like a short definition.
Sister probably watching TikTok all day.
I don't think she knows. Merge of the words. Today's.
Right there. Go to that one right there. That's underlined.
The vabbing trend.
There was another one too. Right? It says, in today's episode of Why Is This a Trend? TikTokers are swearing by vabbing, not by the Most High God, not by his son, not by the word. It says, but they're swearing by vabbing, a marriage of, you read it, and dabbing, right? Which, just as it sounds, involves using your own fluids as perfume. The idea to attract a date with those pheromones, the trend has taken off so much. Urban Dictionary added to its website, right? Also, I want to just say that, you might be like, why are y'all going into this? I've never heard of that, but it's big. Thousands of women are doing this, right? And it's nothing new under the sun. This is just another Jezebel act, another Jezebel spirit. But the point is, they're not going to the Most High God for marriage. They're going to something wicked. And the Most High God said marriage is honorable in all things, but only if you do it his way.
Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Instead of having the Most High God give you a man that he thinks, right? You're so they're basically witches, right? You're using your own body, which is idolatry, to attract that man, right? Instead of asking the Most High God to send you a man that he thinks is deserving of you, right? I'm gonna go to a classic.
Hold up. I want you, Salakia, can you type in one more on Google? It's another one.
Yeah, find it real quick.
I got it. I know what to type in. So this is definitely witchcraft, right? Shalom to the brother Zion.
Shalom.
This is definitely witchcraft. So this is, both of them are witchcraft, and you know, but this one right here is definitely a witch tactic, right? And that's how evil our people have become nowadays, and that's how badly we want somebody to like us, right? We're not comfortable in our own skin. Type in dark, DARK, FEMME, no spaces.
What?
There's no space.
F what?
DARK, FEMME.
FEMME. Not to mention, it's also just gross. Hey, that is true, man. I don't know what type of woman would want to take her vaginal juices and spray it on herself to make men attracted, but if a woman walked around with vaginal juices around me, I'm gonna assume that sister stank.
Throw down.
Okay, that's weird.
Go to the images.
That's just like brothers taking
go to the images
from they sweat between they private part and spraying it on themselves.
Go ahead and read that. That's it, ain't it?
It says, Brother Froze, but it says dark themes on TikTok are selling ebooks and guides how to adopt a submissive, hyperfeminine persona in order to control and manipulate men. But it isn't that the oldest trick in the book?
It was and I know this right here, man.
That's why I said, go ahead.
What?
Go to images. Go to images. Oh, right there. See that one right to the right?
Yeah.
And we can read that one.
Master your siren gaze. Are you slowed, bro? You need to get some new Wi-Fi. I ain't gonna lie to you. Master your siren gaze, and you seduce a man's soul until it keeps moaning your name. This hypnotizing look inspires obsession, and I wrote a guide to teach all the girlies how to master your siren gaze.
Right. So siren gaze, right? A siren is pretty much like a mermaid, right? And they would use their voices and their looks to lure men to pretty much destroy and sink their ships. You know what I'm saying? And we know the Bible talks a lot about eyelids and you know a woman by her voice and all that. You know what I'm saying? But this is, you know, more Jezebel witchcraft action. Just to point out that we're not going to the Most High for our husband. We're not going to the Most High, you know what I'm saying, to find a spouse. We're going to all this witchcraft. We're relying on the physical to unite us with something spiritual. That's supposed to be a spiritual bond, a spiritual covenant, right? But we're relying on physical acts to do that. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, our marriages today aren't honorable, and that's why they don't last.
She kind of giving the game out for free right here in the second one. You know what I'm saying? It says steps to the siren gaze. Slightly raise your eyebrows and narrow your eyes. Open your mouth slightly. This is an expression women have before the big O. So men pick up on this subconsciously. Practice makes perfect, right? So instead of practicing these laws, statutes, and commandments, she'd rather you practice this siren gaze to get you a man, right? But what does the word of God say, right? This is Matthew 6:33. One of you brothers want to read that?
It says, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you.
Right? It says just a lot like the verse that we just read in Psalms, right? Where it says, delight yourself in the world. and delight yourself in the Lord, Salakia. Matthew is telling us the same thing. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you, right? What are all these things that it's talking about? All the things that he has promised you, right? All the things that's within his will, right? All these things shall be added unto you after you seek him first, right? A lot of people got to understand, look, if you want something, you got to seek the Most High for it. That's the easiest way to obtain these things. Instead of you, that's why he said it's not of him that willeth or that him that runneth, right? It's nothing that you can do. It's nothing that you can make happen off of your own will. It's all in the will of God. So it's all in his perfect time. And the only thing that you can do, right? I tell people all the time whenever I'm giving any type of advice, the main thing I tell people is control what you can control, and everything that you can't control, you just let it happen, right? So the main thing that you can control is keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, and diligently seeking the kingdom of God, right? And we're gonna show you what that kind of looks like throughout this video. Go ahead, brother.
Salakia, if I may, what precept was you gonna go to next? I didn't want to step on your toes.
Galatians 6:9.
Can I go to 1 Corinthians 14 and 40 real quick?
Sure. You said 1 Corinthians 14?
1 Corinthians 14 and 40. Because the brother said, seek the kingdom first.
The
brother said, seek the kingdom first. So the Bible, the word of the Most High God says, Paul taught the churches this: let all things be done decently and in order. So the first thing you do is seek the kingdom of God, right? The reason why I'm going here is because it says the first thing, meaning there's things to come afterwards. You know what I'm saying? There's steps you have to take in life, whether you're getting a spouse, trying to live righteously, whatever you're trying to do. There's an order to everything. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing is seeking the Most High God. But what does that look like? Because a lot of brothers and sisters will be like, well, I pray every night. I go to him. I'm waiting for him to send me my man. I'm waiting for him to send me my woman. You know what I'm saying? But what does it look like to seek the kingdom? To seek the kingdom is not just praying. You got to put the work in. You have to do stuff. Huh?
I said we're gonna get into it, but that's through the Spirit, though. I'll let you continue. I'll let you continue that speech after I bring out this precept real quick.
You're good.
Going to Galatians chapter 6 and verse number 9. And it says, and let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not, right? Let us not be weary in well doing. What is this talking about, right? We can't grow weary in doing the work, like the brother is trying to explain to you, right? For in due season we shall reap if we faint not, right? So if we keep doing these righteous acts, no matter what, right? No matter how long it takes, right? If we seek the kingdom first and we don't grow weary in well doing, what does it say? We shall reap. What are we going to reap? We're going to be reaping everything that we've been plowing up, everything that we've been sowing, right? To get the rewards that's in the Most High's will, right? And like the brother was saying, you had anything to add? I know I cut you short to get this precept in.
Nah, you know what I'm saying? And this is a staple precept that you just pulled, because well doing is seeking the kingdom first, right? Seeking the kingdom first. When you're seeking something, you're getting up and you're doing something about it. You got works, you know what I'm saying? Most like God's not gonna give you a husband, right, if you're not working on yourself to be a good wife, and vice versa. He's not gonna give you a wife if you're not making yourself a good man. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna do that. But his standards are not the world standards. So you have to be a righteous man according to the Most High God. You gotta be a righteous woman according to the Most High God, and things will fall into place after that, because that's seeking the Most High God, right? Do you pray? Do you fast? Do you try to teach people, right? A lot of people say, I'm not a teacher, but he commanded all of us to teach the nations. You know what I'm saying? He commanded all of us to do that. So what works are you doing for do you read, right? Do you do things that can help a household? Do you think, are you as a man, are you doing things to help better your confidence in protecting a family, right? And your mental, right? Being prudent, thinking ahead of time. Are you putting yourself in situations before they happen, before you actually have what's yours, right? The Most High God got to know that He can trust you, right? And so when you're doing well doing and you're not growing weary in it, meaning, man, how long do I have to do this before I get somebody? If you're not growing weary, guess what? He's gonna bless you because He's gonna say, if I give this person a spouse or if I not, they're gonna serve me either way. So guess what? I'm gonna bless them just like I blessed Adam.
That's through the Spirit too. That's gonna lead to another precept I got in the chamber, man. But that's a mighty point, right? We tell people all the time, especially when they come for advice on this topic, right? Do the works, right? And what does that works look like? Not just praying for a husband every night, praying for a wife every night, right? Do things within your control, right? I'll just speak a little bit about how I handled it, right? I wanted a wife, and matter of fact, I'm gonna go to this precept real quick, because I wanted a wife, and with me wanting a wife, it left me like this, right? I'm gonna go to the book of Sirach and go to 36 and 25.
Salakia too. I want to make a note of that precept you just put out in well doing, because a lot of brothers and sisters they're not doing anything well, right? Going to the strip club because you're lustful, you got to fulfill your lustful needs, or following people on Instagram that don't wear clothes, or you know what I'm saying? That's not well doing. You got to keep yourself. If you don't chastise yourself right now and control your flesh, how can the Most High God trust you to be in union with somebody else? You're just gonna hurt them.
Man. And so a little bit about how I handled the situation when I found myself in a situation, and I first felt like this, right? This is the book of Sirach, chapter 36 and verse 25, where no hedge is there the possession is spoiled, and he that has no wife, right? Here's the point: he that has no wife will wander up and down mourning. And we see this in today, right? You might not be wandering up and down the street, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of us be on social media scrolling for days, right? Instead of trying to contribute to the word, we're consumed with trying to find a wife, right? And the first thing we do is we get on Instagram, we start scrolling. We hit a sister's page. Now we going through all her pages, all her pictures and whatnot, right? Just to find out she got a boyfriend or something, right? And then we go to the next one, and we wandering up and down Instagram, the timeline, right? And we're mourning, right? We're mourning. We're feeling sorry for ourselves. Why does everybody else have a rib? Why does everybody else have a husband? Where's mine? When do I get my time? When do I get mine? What is happening? I'm in this truth. You got some, brother?
Yeah, I was gonna say, everybody, and if you're a brother, you know what you do when you're single. You know what I'm saying? Go on Instagram, go to the search bar, type in Princess of Zion, daughter of the Most High.
Type in hashtags, right?
And Ephraim Princess,
right?
Judah Princess. You know what I'm saying?
Hashtag all praise the Most High.
Right. And you scroll and try to find somebody. Oh, she's married. No male DMs. I wonder if that means me. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, facts. And you know what? A lot of us are resorting to, because we grow weary and well doing. We're resort to, well, maybe I can bring my ex back into the truth. Now you searching up your ex. You searching up girls that you had crushes on in the world, right? You growing weary and well doing. Now you succumbing yourself to women in the world, men in the world, right?
That kind of brings me to that precept.
You said what?
That kind of brings me to the precept we went over the other day in Job 14 and 4. It reads, Job 14 and 4, right? You pulling it up? Never mind, I got it. You don't have to. I got you. Job 14 and 4. Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. So like the brother said, your flesh gonna have you try to do something that's impossible. Your flesh gonna have you do something that's gonna hurt you even more. You know what I'm saying?
All because you've grown weary and well doing, right? You've grown weary and well doing. So, hey, pickings are slim. I'm a resort to getting some of these tares amongst the wheat. You know what I'm saying?
You start thinking like, man, Jacob's wives, they were, you know what I'm saying, Syrian women that they were in idolatry. They was in the world, and Jacob's a forefather. You start about people in the like Samson, you know, slept with that harlot, and Samson, you know, got that one wife that was a Hamite, you know, and you start thinking like that, and now you're gonna end up ruined, right? Because you're trying to force a clean thing on an unclean thing. Just be patient.
Come, man, you gotta be patient and do not grow weary in well doing, right? But like I was saying, right? In my journey, this is how I felt at one point, right? I nixed everybody that I was dealing with in the world, and I was like, I need to get me a woman in the truth. So, you know, I'm starting weeding through all these women in the truth on Instagram and whatnot, right? Almost, it's hey man, I almost got with a sister, man. She was a nice sister, man, but I knew I was settling, and she had a daughter and everything, man. You know what I'm saying? But
Hey, you was settling because she had a daughter?
Nah, that's not what hey, look, you know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm trying to say. But lo and behold, what I'm trying to say is that I only knew the sister for like a week. You know what I'm saying? But I had in my mind, I'm playing with my mind, like, you know what, if this is what it has to come down to, this is what it has to come down to. I'm done. I'm tired of waiting. She's in the truth. I'm in the truth. Why not now? You know what I'm saying? And not saying anything was wrong with the sister or nothing like that, but she just wasn't for me. But this is how I felt, man. I used to wander up and down mourning, right? Because I didn't have a wife. And so the revelation that I came to was I sat back and I just looked. I looked at the scriptures and I examined them, and I got the principles that it was teaching. And I was like, dang, man, these scriptures really are deeper than what you know, just the classic scriptures that we went over, Matthew 6:33, right? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you, right? Galatians 6:9, right? You should reap if you faint not, right? I started thinking, man, am I doing that? And so I had to take a look at myself and be like, what am I doing for this truth? What am I doing for the Lord that would put me in a position to deserve a wife, right? I say if I get a wife, man, I'll be this much better because I'll be doing this, that, and the third. But how is the Most High God going to honor that if I haven't even showed him that, right? So for me, what I did was, I created my own private little YouTube, because I was off of for a minute there, I was off and on of Instagram and whatnot, but I want to make my own little YouTube. So I got on YouTube and I started putting out videos, right? Oh, this is what happened. After I came to the revelation, I got off of Instagram, and then I got my YouTube, right? Once I got my YouTube, started uploading videos, right, about the truth, right? Trying to spread this gospel. And I would make sure I at least uploaded one video a week, at least. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it was more, but at least one video a week. I stepped up my prayer life. I stepped up my fasting life. I also try to get in contact with at least one person a week that didn't know about this truth. Somebody I knew in the past, somebody I came in contact with, right? And I started really laboring. That's when I really started reading, because when lo and behold, when I first came into the truth, I really wasn't reading like that. You know what I'm saying? I would read. We all know like the classic scriptures to go to for Hebrew if you're in this truth, right? If you're an Israelite. But I really wasn't reading like that. Like I wasn't sitting down reading like chapters on chapters and books like that. And so that's when my reading really took off. I started making sure that I read at least 4 chapters a day, at least. You know what I'm saying? And I started doing these things. And in doing these things, my mind started to not put so much effort into getting a wife. And like we said, video on video, letting go and letting God, right? As cliche as it sounds, but I started letting go and letting God in that area. And I just started holding myself diligently in this work, right? And that's when he started showing me who my wife was. And he started working on my wife's heart, right? And lo and behold, he brought us together. And that's how we are. That's how we got to where we are right now. But you had something?
Con, I know you probably got this precept, so I'm just gonna quote it. But you know, like the brother said, wandering up and down, mourning, what do you do when you wander up and down, man? You ain't got nothing to do, nothing better to do. So what ends up happening? You end up clinging to the first thing you see, like the brother said. And the Bible said, do not be hasty to credit a friend, right? And Ecclesiastes 6 and 7. So guess what?
We can get that real quick.
So
I had something related to it, but I didn't have that one. You said 6 and 7?
And so, you know what I'm saying? Like the word said, don't be hasty. It says, if thou wouldest get a friend, prove him first, and be not hasty with it. Don't be fast. Don't be quick to credit him. Don't give him all the credit. Don't give her all the credit. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about this truth, we'll see a lot of women get swindled because they're hasty to credit somebody just because, oh, he knows the Bible. Oh, he calls himself a Hebrew Israelite. Oh, he wears fringes. Oh, he got the long zeets. You know what I'm saying? And same thing with men. Men will get some wicked women and, you know, be in a mess. You know what I'm saying? And then and now that's on your conscience. Do I have to leave this girl? Do we have to, the law of separation? Now you asking people all these different questions about the law. All you had to do was be patient and you wouldn't even have to ask these questions about the law. But now, because you are wandering up and down, bored, the first thing you saw that was shiny, you're like a dog when he sees a squirrel. You go chase after it and you credit it to be your wife or to be your husband. And guess what? Now you're let down.
Because now you trusting in.
Right.
You were trusting in that Instagram page, right? The only thing you had to go off of was her Instagram page. She looked like a daughter of Zion. She got fringes on, right? We speaking the same language through DM, right? And then once you try to, you know, work something out with the sister, everything goes to haywire. And that's why I made that statement in telling my story, is that when I started doing these works, not only was the Most High gearing my mind to what should be first always, which was him and this truth and spreading this gospel, right? But at the same time, right, he was working in my wife's heart too. Because at the time, a lot of people don't know, she was a little her heart was hardened toward me in the beginning, right? And I literally saw the Most High work on her heart to soften it up, to be able to be given unto me, right? To submit to me and the things that I had planned for our family and this, that, and the third, and that I was there to help her out, whether she believed it or not, right? And so within this process, you do what you got to do. Best believe that he will prune and he will prove that person for you, and you don't even have to necessarily do that stage. And I'll say this: when you do that stage, it'll be easier, right? Because that person will show their natural flaws to you, right? And they'll show you who they really are, right? Just off GP, you know what I'm saying? And it's like a lot of us be trying to force that, and when you try to force it, that's when the lies come, right? That's when the person doesn't really trust. And somebody at my work said this, right? You only lie to the people you're afraid of, right? And so when you get into these relationships and so you trying to prove somebody and they're lying to you, it's because they're afraid of losing you, okay? And when you lie to them, it's because you're afraid of losing them, right? But it's different when you're concentrating on what you're concentrating on and she's concentrating on what she's concentrating on, because at that time it's like, okay, it's nothing but truth, because whether you leave me or not, I know I'm gonna be straight, and I know my husband or my wife is on the way regardless, right? And so a lot of times we got to take ourselves out of it and just let the Most High work. You know what I'm saying? Christ says, take my yoke, for my yoke is easy, right? It's a burden to an extent, but a lot of that load he's carrying, right? A lot of that, and he's gonna bring that truth to the light, right? He's gonna, and even if she wasn't supposed to be for you, or even if she was wicked, he can turn her heart to soften her heart. He has the power to do so. He can harden it or soften it, right?
I was gonna say verse 8, right? Verse 8: for some man is a friend for his own occasion and will not abide in the day of thy trouble. A lot of people are hasty to credit a spouse, and they'll get with somebody that's not gonna be in it for long haul, and now you're suffering for a lifetime until the Most High's Son come back. You don't want to be in that situation, right? Of course, like the brother said, the Most High can. Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
Right. Of course, the Most High can change the heart of somebody or give wisdom to somebody or change their spirit, but ultimately you don't want to be green, man. You don't want to end up with somebody that's only getting married just to have you on their arm, you know what I'm saying, as eye candy. Like for my brothers out there, there's some women, you know, they'll put on a front, man. They'll wear the dress, you know, they'll quote scriptures. Even in the world, they'll quote scriptures, right? Trying to look attractive to you because they know that's what you like. And every time you with them, you know, they got their phone up and you in the background and you kind of like, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be that man, right? That just got with a girl because, you know, she was pretty and she only got with you for her own gain to tell her people that she got a husband now, right? And
That's
some women also, they just want a man so that they can have a child. Some women, they just have a man, get a man so that they can have a baby. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to be used because guess what? A lot of these women, once they get that baby, it's almost like they get out the truth. You know what I'm saying? All their attention goes to that baby. And like the scripture says, the child's going to rule over them, right? Children are their oppressors and they go worship the baby. That everything is about the baby, right? And
that's another reason why everything
blah, blah, blah.
That's another reason why everything should be decent and in order. Because if everything happens decent and in order, right, you won't have to worry about those things. You won't have to worry about getting caught lacking in this truth, right? You don't have to worry about, oh man, I haven't read in a long time. Oh man, I forgot my fringes again, right? Oh man, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get caught lacking once you get these rewards, right? Because that's when you got to question the reward at that point. Is it a true reward or is it a gift that's destroying my heart, right? So this is Sirach 37 in verse 12. But be continually with a godly man, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry, right? And again, you had to pull it up.
That's what I was just looking at on my phone.
See, that's the spirit. You know what I'm saying? But and likewise, like we said at the beginning of the video, these scriptures are twofold. So when you see man, you can also replace it with woman. But be continually with a godly woman, whom thou knowest to keep the commandments. I actually want to go to this whole chapter real quick because it's like 2 verses above it that are pretty good too, right? It's just giving a little wisdom. Neither consult with a woman touching her of whom she is jealous. You don't want to consult with somebody, a woman, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to consult about somebody that the woman is jealous of, neither with a coward in matters of war. It's just giving me some wisdom. Nor with a hireling for a year. Hearken not unto these in any matter of counsel, right? So he's telling you all of these things, right? Don't listen to any of these type of people in any matter of counsel, right? Because they're going to be biased, right? They're going to give you the wrong answers. They're going to give you the wrong counsel. But this is who you should have counsel with, and this is who you should also be with, right? Be continued with a godly man. Why is it telling you to be continued with a godly man, right? Whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, right? If you know that this person has a good reputation of keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? Everybody else knows this person has a good reputation of keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. Chances are you're going to be safe, right? If it's a toss-up, right, you don't really know this person, that should let you know. If you don't really know if this person keep the law, statutes, and commandments like that for real, yeah, they might have it in their bio, right? Yeah, they might make a few posts on their story. But if you don't know, if you haven't seen this person keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, it's a toss-up. And if it's a toss-up, that's how you know it's not time yet. You know what I'm saying? It's not time yet. You got to actually be with these people. You got something?
You can finish. Go ahead.
Whose mind is according to thy mind, right? This is what it comes into being like-minded with somebody. You want to know if this person has the same mind as you, right? Not just on Instagram, but in person too, right? You want to bring up certain situations. Like if our son came out homosexual, what would you do? How would you feel, right? You want to get down to the nitty-gritty of these of this, because this person at the end of the day is going to be who you spend the rest of your life with. And you really want to see if you're like-minded, if you guys would make the same decision on certain situations in the future, right? Before you get into something with somebody and you don't really know, right? Or sometimes we get into stuff with people and we know that they would have a different decision than we would have. And we're like, well, I'll worry about that when it gets here. No, you want to make sure you're like-minded in everything. And will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. What is it talking about, right? It's talking about these law, statutes, and commandments. So if you fail at doing these law, statutes, and commandments, they're gonna feel like they have failed, right? If my wife is lacking, I'm gonna feel like I'm lacking. If I'm lacking, she should feel like she's lacking, right? Like what's going on? Like, am I doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing, right? Am I not helping you be the best person you can be in this truth, right? But Khan, you got something, Yeshaya?
Con, I was just gonna say a little bit, just a little bit of wisdom from the Spirit, just from my perspective a little bit.
Con.
So when it comes to pursuing a spouse, it's something to, it's one thing to, like we say, make sure, your partner's doing, or the partner you're looking for is doing, but like the brothers have been going over, it's very important that you hold yourself accountable to a standard, right? Because say you're a man or a woman and you're looking for a husband or a wife, right? You don't want to be the brother or sister to want all these things, but never, truly achieve it for yourself, right? Can I pull up a preset real quick?
Con.
Ephesians 5. I don't know if you was going to go there.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Ephesians 5.
Oh, well.
I mean, we can go, though.
Like it.
I just want to get one precept before we go there. If you want to, can you hold your point?
Yeah, I hold.
Hold up. Before you go to that, can I read something?
Salakia,
I was going to, never mind. I got you. Never mind. I was going to read something, though, that went with your last precept.
Bring it out while I'm getting this real quick.
All right. This is Sirach 26:4. Salakia, not that. Yeah. Sirach 26:4. Whether a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart toward the Lord, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Meaning, hey, through the good and the bad, he's gonna take it to the chin. You want to be with a man like that. You want to be with a husband like that. You want to be with a wife like that, because guess what? Through a marriage, you're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have family die. You're gonna have hard times on a job. You're gonna have sicknesses in the family, whether it's you or her or a child. You're gonna have childbirth. You're gonna have a lot of obstacles in a marriage that you know what I'm saying, cause strife. And Matthew 5:10 says, "Blessed are those that are persecuted for righteousness' sake," right? And I want to say the apostles and the disciples, they rejoiced when they got sent to prison. They rejoiced when they were persecuted. So it says, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. So through all your ups and downs, if you get somebody that's truly of the Most High God, you don't have to worry, like the brother said, you don't have to worry about future situations, because you know that this person is built for it because of the way they lean on the Most High God for everything, and they'll rejoice and they'll pray through it, they'll fast through it, they'll talk through it, and they'll be an adult, right, in the army of the Most High God, and take it like a good soldier, as I think it's 2 Timothy says.
Con, right? This is Sirach 39, and I think I just want verse 1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies, right? And so I want to put emphasis on this, man, because it's just putting emphasis on how do we seek the Most High God, right? How do we put him first, right? When you give your mind to what? The laws, right? The law, statutes, and commandments, right? And is occupied in the meditation thereof, meditating on the prophets, right? The testimonies, right? When you seek when you do this, you seek the wisdom of the ancient, right? We seek the wisdom of the Father, right? And be occupied in prophecies. Know what's going on. What is it going to profit you to get a wife and kids, right? And you can't even tell them what's about to befall them in the last days, right?
Right. That's that goes with your first precept. Seek ye first the kingdom, because that's just, it's saying the exact same thing, just in a different way.
That's why I put the emphasis on this is how we seek, right? This is how we seek the Most High. This is how we put him first, right? You got to do the diligent things to you got to keep yourself diligent, right? To reap the rewards, right? And not just the men and spreading this gospel. Not saying you have to do these things, but spreading this gospel as far as making videos, right? Going out there on the street, teaching, reaching out to people, right? Praying, fasting, reading, all of these things. But women too, you can do these things too. Women, are you reading? Right? Are you and are you really diligently reading? Or are you just reading one chapter a day? Right? Are you reading to retain? Are you just reading to read? Are you praying? Are you fasting? Not just praying for vanity for just you, but are you praying for other folks? Right? Are you giving alms? You want to provide for a family, but you can't even provide for the sick and the needy. You know what I'm saying? You got to be diligent in these things, and then the Most High God will trust you with whatever he's going to trust you, right? I'm going to head over to Ephesians for the brother Yeshaya, because Ephesians is very good. Ephesians 5 is where it's at, right? And I want to say, man, you got to keep in perspective like this, right? We just went over Brother Yeshai. I think Brother Yeshai just went over the relationships with the Most High, right? You know what I'm saying? We did a wonderful video on that, and it's the same thing. So keep in mind, it's like, okay, nothing in this life is for free. So believe it or not, your wife isn't for free. You got to work for that. How do you work for that? You put in work for the Lord. What does that look like? Well, it looks like this. Like put yourself back when you were a little kid. You ride in the car with both your parents or just one of your parents, right? You ask your mom and your dad, hey, can I get a puppy? Right? They look at each other kind of puzzled. And then your dad or your mom say, you know what? I'm willing to give you a puppy if you make straight A's all this semester, right? And you're kind of looking in your head like, that's all I got to do. That's all I got to do. And then it kind of turns bitter in your stomach because he's like, dang, math is kind of hard, right? So you got to perfect some of the areas that you're weak in, right? Just like, hey, math was kind of hard, but you got to buckle down. You want that puppy, right? You got to perfect math, right? If you're weak in reading, that means I got to read. Yeah, you got to perfect that. You weak in you know what I'm saying? Evangelizing, you weak in praying, fasting, especially fasting. You weak in this stuff. You got to perfect these things, right? And then once you got that straight A's during your report on your report card, now you get that puppy, right? Not calling husbands and wives puppies, but hey, that's your reward. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the work in.
Right. And everything got to be personal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we take the blame off of ourselves, you know what I'm saying? But in this finding a spouse, all of that's personal. In the world and in the truth, everybody knows, and it makes sense. God's going to give you what you can handle, right? God's going to give you what you deserve. So if he hasn't given you something yet, he probably don't think you deserve it, or he probably don't think you can handle it. You know what I'm saying? To whom much is given, much is required. So, you got to ask yourself, what do I need to do more of, right? Because it can't just be these niggas, right? It can't just be these men. It can't just be these women, right? It can't just be their fault all the time, right? That you're running into these bad people, maybe because you're being hasty, or maybe because the Most High God is leading you to wrong people until you get your act together, right? And, all the brothers on here, we are in, beautiful marriages, all praises to the Most High. And I'm pretty sure all of us can attest that we had to get our act together before that one came.
Why you put my business out there like that, bro? But Salakia, man, I want to say
what verse you want?
Now, before you get there, I just want to elaborate on what y'all were saying, because this is something important too. I want to take a back street to what the brothers said. They went front street. I'm gonna go back street. When I got married, half of everything that's being brought out right now, I didn't have no sense of, you know what I'm saying? And that's because I was still young in the truth. I was growing. And a lot of the things that I was dealing with at the time I got married to my wife now, I would say that I've matured a lot in a lot of areas. Most High be my witness. But when it comes to having a wife or acquiring a wife or acquiring a husband, one thing that you must know is that what the brothers is saying is true. You definitely want to make sure that you're on your P's and Q's, because what prophet doesn't make you to want to be a wife or want to be a husband and you don't know a lick of nothing? Don't think that just because you're a woman or you're just a beautiful woman, you know what I'm saying, that you'll get married just because you're a beautiful woman. The Most High, like the brothers are saying, is going to require something from you in order to get that blessing. If you want to be a married sister, well, sister, make sure that you're girding your loins every day. How much, like the brothers are saying, are you reading enough for the Most High now? Because how are you going to expect to go from not reading at all to get a husband? Now your husband is requiring you to read 20 chapters a day. That's a big shock. You need to start prepping yourself for being a wife, just like the brothers. Brothers, it's hard to lead a woman, you know what I'm saying, when you don't practice self-discipline now. How much do you fast, brother? How much do you read? How much do you pray? I'm not the one to, righteously check anybody, because I always tell my wife, there's things that in our marriage that as time goes on, I'm getting better at. You know what I'm saying? I'm 24 years old, but in the spirit realm, even last year, around the time me and my wife got married, I felt like I was 15, because like I said, I'm still young in the truth. I wasn't reading as much. You know what I'm saying? I was starting to fast a little bit more, but I really didn't have no knowledge. I really didn't know how to lead a household. As time goes on, though, I'm just speaking, Salakia, I'm just speaking on behalf of myself, my experience in my marriage. As time goes on, there's things that I learned, you know what I'm saying, especially about my wife. I learned, you know what I'm saying, ways that I communicate with her. I learned ways that, you know what I'm saying, where I, as a man, could probably step up to the plate more. Brother Azrael said earlier in the video that when it comes to marriage, you're going to even have times where you go through hardships, right? That's why he brought out the precept, Sirach 26:4. That's important, because even with me being so young in marriage, I've went through hardships, me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? I've went through having children, you know what I'm saying? That whole phase. We've went through a lot.
Hey, the hardships come early.
Right. And our hardship came a lot early. All I can say is that when it comes to taking that front street to saying, make sure all your P's and Q's dotted, yes, but also to, like I said, take a back street route. Everything might not be together before you get married, and that's okay. But long as you are trying in the spirit to seek the Father first, long as you are putting the Father first and foremost, you know what I'm saying? Like he said, then those things will be added unto you. But it's not like you got to know the whole Bible front and back in order to be married. It's not like as a woman, you got to know how to cook, you got to know how to sew fringes, and you got to learn how to, you know what I'm saying, do all these other sorts of things to be married. The brothers are not saying that, and I'm saying emphatically that, speaking as a man, because even when I first got married, I didn't know half the things I know now. But it's about growth. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that you want to do is, if I didn't before put the Most High first, definitely being married tells you that you have to put him first, because it's a huge difference. You know what I'm saying? It's a different spiritual realm. But Salaki, you can go ahead to Ephesians 5.
Right. I was gonna add on to what you just said too, taking that back road. But in all honesty, you know what I'm saying, brothers, you were seeking the Most High God first. You know what I'm saying? Seeking the Most High God, as far as we was road tripping to do the work. You know what I'm saying? You had started hanging around more like-minded, godly people. You were inquiring about the word. And that's, you know what I'm saying, really what the Most High God wants. You know what I'm saying? All that other stuff, like the brother said, the Most High can give you wisdom through days and years. You know what I'm saying? As it says in Job. So like, that's what the brother's saying. You don't have to be all the way put together. But if that person that's going to be for you, like in Torah says, ordained from the beginning, that person's going to be in your life, you got to do what it takes to please the Most High God first. And then he could put you in that platform, in that playground. He could put you in that game to where you can start learning on the fly. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom to the next person.
We definitely gonna have to go into part two, do a part two of this.
Man. And what the brother is saying is right, man. And one thing I want to point out is, when he tells you to seek him first, when he requires all these things of you before he gives you a reward, most of that is because he's giving you an airbag, so to speak, right? A fallback plan that's gonna set you up for success instead of failure, right? When he tells you to put all these things first, it's because these are the principal things, these are the foundational things that, hey, look, put all stuff in right now, and then once you go through some hardships in your relationship, you'll remember on how you know what I'm saying, got this wife. You'll remember, you'll fall back on doing these law, statutes, commandments. You'll fall back on being diligent for the Lord instead of hitting a hardship, right? And not being grounded, and now you becoming a drunkard, right? Now you falling back into the world and stuff like this, right? A lot of times when he tells you to put something first, right, it's so that's the first thing that's in your mind. When something goes bad, let me revert back to the first thing that's in my mind, right? And that should be God, right? That should be this truth, this gospel. Something goes bad, let me resort back. And that's the same thing how you read this Bible too, right? Something gets confusing. What do? We desire the sincere milk, right? We go back to the law and the prophets, right? It gets confusing. Let me go back to the law and prophets. You know what I'm saying? That's how it should be. Same thing with everything in our life, right? The relationships are coincide. They're congruent.
Right. Hey, that's a big thing, because like we read earlier, it said, be with a godly man, one that knows to do well, or to keep the commandments. And then we also read the other one that says, a godly man's gonna always rejoice, you know, in anything. And a lot of us, we're still, and it doesn't matter if you've been in the truth for 2 years, 3 years. I know people that still struggle when they have a hardship. They break down. They start hanging out with worldly people. They start doing worldly things. They don't rejoice in it. They don't find the Most High God in their situation. They don't lean on Him. So how do you think you're gonna get a spouse, and every single time something bad happens, you break down and you go back into the world? You know what I'm saying? The Most High God's not gonna let you be in a union. The Most High God's not gonna let you lead a union. The Most High God's not gonna, you know what I'm saying, do that for you. You want to be in the world whenever something goes bad. You got to be continually with God, continually. If you want somebody to be continually with you, because the word is saying be continually with a godly man or woman.
Right. So what verse did you want real quick, Yeshaya? Mighty point, by the way. Because I know I'm a hit 20, 24, 28.
Go down to 25.
All right.
Right. It says right here, husbands, love your wives, even as you're good. Even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Now, I brought this out for a specific reason. Follow me with this, because I wanted this to be known that when it comes to, like the brother said earlier, double to that which is, we know that husbands are supposed to love our wives even as Christ loved the church, right? Right. Also, we got to understand that, hey, women, we already know there's a plethora of precepts in the Bible to show acts of love by women, right? Because one thing you will never see in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, is when it tells a woman to love a man. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't read a precept like that yet where it says women love. But we know that love is shown by action. And a lot of the actions that require women to love, I'm saying that backwards. A lot of the love that women are supposed to show to their husband is by actions, being obedient, being submissive, being understanding, listening to your husband, letting him be the head, understanding that there's order and there's structure, right? When it comes to that, Ephesians 5, where it says, husband, love your wife, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, we must first, in order for me to love my wife in full, I have to, like the brothers were saying earlier, I must first love the Father, and I must first love myself. You know what I'm saying? I have to learn how to be able to handle the stress that I put myself through before I'm able to truly love my wife how she should be loved. I have to first handle my emotions before I handle my wife's emotions. The reason I'm reading that is saying that because while you're in the process of looking for a wife or a husband, there's, like the brother was saying, there's a lot of things to go into on that topic, because it's so many things that in the world today, as we know it, we get into when it comes to being alone, having someone, not having someone, this, that, and the third, wanting someone. It's all about, when it comes before you get married, before you take that vow, however you make that covenant, it's all about building up yourself in the spirit first. Because if you don't have the mental capacity to even deal with your own emotions, like if you're a mental wreck now, you need to get yourself in order. You need to learn how to love the Father so you can learn how to love yourself, right? You need to learn how to take care of yourself before you learn how to take care of somebody else. I think that's a big point that a lot of people miss on, is before you get married, that whole courting process, it's really should be about, even before you court somebody, it should be about what can I do in the spirit to build myself up. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, reading is great. Reading is necessary. Like the brother's saying, that's commandment. Read, understand, read, fast, pray. All that is fine. But reading, fasting, and praying. Now, what are you doing when you're not reading, fasting, and praying? What are you doing when you're not doing something that's just faith oriented? What are you doing in your pastime that builds, or you know what I'm saying, builds, or for lack of a better word, I would say destroys your character? That's what we all need to be thinking about. Things that we don't think about. Reading, fasting, and praying is all praise to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? But even with that understanding, I know people who read, fast, and pray now and maybe have women who do the same thing or are wicked women. I know brothers who read, fast, and pray and still be wicked men. You know what I'm saying? So it's a deeper understanding to that. Just saying, if I read, if I fast, if I pray, if I read 20 chapters a day, if I fast 3 times a week, and if I pray at least 7 times a day, the Most High is going to give me that. No. Like the brothers were saying, He'll give you that when He sees that you're ready for it. But there's so much more that you can be doing to build yourself up, you know what I'm saying, than just simply just reading scripture, not getting to understand it. Simply by fasting, but not fasting with purpose. Simply by praying, but only praying for one thing. Lord, make me a spouse. Amen. You know?
Come on, man.
So
No, you're good. That's a mighty point, man. And chiefly verse 28 is hitting on that point. This is Ephesians 5:28. So are men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself, right? And this is tagging along with exactly what you just said. And it's a mighty point, like you said, right? When we do these things, when we do a diligent work, we don't want to do it as if we're just only doing it just to receive a wife. We got to do these things with sincerity for the Most High, right? Do all these things, like the brother said, with purpose, right? When we fast, when we read, when we pray, all this stuff has to be sincere and with a purpose, right? And so Ephesians 5, like the brother was saying, you can't be single and be wanting a wife and wanting to love a wife if you don't even know how to love yourself yet, right? When things get haywire, now you resorting to go back to where now you're smoking a J, right? You know what I'm saying? If you don't even know how to love yourself, if you don't even treat your own body, women, when all hell breaks loose, right? And you get depressed and whatnot, you start cutting your flesh again, right? You can't want to get a husband, or because a husband or wife is not gonna fix those things, right? If anything, they're gonna make it worse, because now you got to be able to have the mental capacity, like the brother was talking about, the mental capacity to deal with another being. And not only do you have to, because if you can't control your own emotions, you got to be able to deal with somebody else's emotions. And the thing about somebody else's emotions, you can't control their emotions. It's just going, when they get mad, you can't control when and not they get mad, when and not they get sad. It's just going to come. You got to be able to deal with that, right? And so if you don't love yourself first, if you don't get all that stuff all the issues that you got and you resolve first, it's just going to be a total train wreck. You know what I'm saying?
and if I may add to that, that's definitely the verse I would definitely want it. But I'm going to say that is so true, because it's just like, man, when I think about marriage and everything that it entails, I look at the things I did from year 0 to year 1, right? And I had a talk with my wife a few weeks ago, and I was just like telling her that I want year 1 to year 2 be better than what year 0 to year 1 was, because I see a lot of times where I'm not in Salakia, my wife, she can hear me, and you know what I'm saying, our friends, whatnot, this, that, and the third. But I'm not putting my wife on Front Street when I say that. There's been a lot of times where I told my wife maybe her attitude or something was going off. And there's been a lot of times where I would let her attitude or something that she says or does in a way that she say it get to me. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of maybe I responded to that wrong. But then again, I thought about there's a lot of times where maybe I said something or did something that might probably made my wife upset, you know? And it just goes back to circle saying, look, I have to love my wife as I love myself, because at the end of the day, I know how I like to be communicated with, and I know how I want to be able to communicate with other people. So when it comes to having a wife, you know what I'm saying, or even having a husband, loving your partner as you love yourself is very important, because it's going to show you how much you really truly love that person. Like, it's just like example, and I'll pass it back to the brother. Example: if somebody lets you, let's see, if somebody gives you something that's theirs and says you can have it or you can hold it or something like that, right? You might not care about it as much if you was to give somebody something and say, hey, you can have this or you can hold this, right? Because whatever you're giving out is yours, but whatever you're receiving is not necessarily yours, it's somebody else's, right? So in a sense, liking it unto, you know, having maybe you have let's say a rental car. You rent a car from a rental car place, right?
That's the
When
spirit.
you're driving the car,
The spirit, because that's the exact analogy I had in my head. Not a rental car, but like even like personal cars. Like
right,
you have your own car, and she got her own car, right?
right. Treat your car, treat that person's car how you would treat your car. If you know you only put premium in your car, right, and maybe their car don't require premium, but you know that premium is the better grade quality for this car. Get that car what you think it's worth. You know what I'm saying? I just certainly am big on that, because it's just like, bro, like I said, we young, and me being married at a young age, I'm just like, dang, I see how mature that you really have to be as a father, as a husband, you know what I'm saying? As a leader. I can't get on YouTube and talk to y'all and just put on a facade, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be held accountable for the things I say. I don't want to be pharisaical when it comes to leading people, teaching people, talking to people, advice. I want to be honest as I can possibly be. And I would be a liar to say that the things that we're going over tonight in my first year of marriage, that I checked every box. No, I didn't. There's times I've never not loved my wife as myself, but there's times where, like I said, maybe I could have read with my wife more, prayed with her more, taught her more scripture, this, that, and the third. Things that I could do better. And that's advice that we're passing to you, brothers and sisters who are looking for a spouse. You should definitely be the brother sister to want to read with your significant other. Or if you don't have nobody, definitely read with yourself more. Definitely pray with yourself more. When you fast with intention.
Come, man.
Go ahead.
That's great, man. Because it's like when you look at loving yourself and what love is according to the Bible, right? We know it's keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? And so it's like, so if I'm loving myself and I'm loving my wife as I love myself, I'm not gonna let my wife walk out the house without fringes on, because I know I wouldn't walk out the house without fringes on, right? I'm not gonna let, like, and sometimes being in a relationship, it can be draining sometimes, because sometimes people go through seasons of slothfulness, right? Whether it be the man or the woman, and you might be like, man, I'm tired of telling her to read, or you know what I'm saying, read every night, this, that, and the third. I'm tired of doing this, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Even though you won't let yourself go to sleep until you read, right? So it goes hand in hand. Like, you got to love yourself. In this is what I'm saying. As it relates to this truth, the same way everything that applies to you, and how the zeal that you got, it should be transferred over to your wife, and vice versa. The zeal that you have in this truth for as a woman, right? You're constantly diligent, right? You constantly asking questions, constantly watching videos, constantly sewing this, that, and the third. That zeal should transfer to your husband. And ultimately, when you both have that same zeal, right? Now that candlelight in your relationship is burning bright. You know what I'm saying? You want to always keep it bright. You don't want to let it dull down. You got something, Azrael?
Yeah, can you go to Matthew 7:12?
Can I read this one more time to put emphasis on this real quick? Ephesians 5:25. Husband, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. This is the scripture that the brother had brought out. And I just want to put emphasis on the fact that we're using this scripture as a preliminary to get into a relationships, right? And so you shouldn't even want to get with somebody if you're not willing to lay your life on the line, right? You shouldn't even want to get with, especially for husbands. If you're not willing to risk your life for this young lady, right, or for a woman, right? If you love your life that much, you shouldn't even be looking to get a wife, right? Also, how did Christ love the church? Although some people in the church would spit on him and call him names and this, that, and the third, and he says, he even says to the centurion, I haven't seen this much faith in Israel, right? Meaning that we were a faithless generation. They didn't even have faith in their husband. So sometimes when your wife doesn't have faith in you to do certain things, right? When she starts lacking this, that, and third, are you still gonna love her like Christ did? Like, if keep in mind, like, you just got into a big argument with your wife or your husband, right? And then lo and behold, you go out into the world, you going shopping or something like this, and I don't know, cars coming, and your wife is going. Are you gonna think, man, I'd be damned if I jumped in front of her in that car? You heard what she said to me before we left the house? You heard the names that she called me before we left the house? Or are you gonna say, this is my wife? Despite what she called me, despite what she said to me, I'm still gonna jump in front of this car, right? And if you're not willing to do that, right, you don't need to be in a relationship. You don't need to have a wife. You don't need to have a husband at that point, right? You got to think about these things before you get into a relationship. Because when you get in a relationship, it's these little things that's gonna cause problems, right? Because let's say she gets hit by that car, right, and she ends up living, and she had a glimpse of you, and you were hesitating to come save her, and now that's a big argumentative situation, right? So if you don't have these things on lock, right, and have your mind geared to the right things, when these situations come, you know what I'm saying, it could end up bad for you. Go ahead, Azrael.
Con. Hey, real quick before the brother Azrael go, man, my wife called me ugly right before we got on here, man. And you know what? Hey, I still got to talk about her like I love her. You know what I'm saying? It be like that sometimes. Hey, look, like Christ said, man, I come to set a man at variance with his own family. Your enemy should be there of his own household. So, just got to elaborate on that. Sometimes your wife will, or your husband will, they'll probably be the person that get on your nerves the most. But
sometimes it be like that.
It be like that, bro. That comes with the territory. But I'd be a liar. I tell you, but they know, you know what I'm saying? I say all the time, man, my wife be getting my nerves sometimes, but I would be a liar to say, boy, if I didn't love my wife. I praise the Most High for her every single day, because you can't take women for granted, especially a woman who's diligently wants to, you know what I'm saying, seek the Father with you. Hell, even seek the Father for you. Even when you feel like sometimes, like you said, you get into that slothful season and you can't find the need to seek for yourself. Hey, when you got a woman who's, you know what I'm saying, in your corner, praying for you, you know what I'm saying, taking care of you, doing whatever it is that she got to do to help you be the man and be the head of the family, hey, that's a good woman to have, man.
Big con.
Just like women, a good man to have is, like the brother said, a man who will lay down his life for you. If a man ain't trying to lay down his life for you, you don't even need to be with him. Now, I don't know too many brothers in the truth that wouldn't lay down their life for their women, but that's definitely important.
Hey, I'm led to believe you can ask that question to a man before you even get into a relationship with him. You ask him, he slide in your DM, you ask him, are you willing to lay down your life for me? And see what he say. If he say, nah, I don't really know you like that, then you know, okay, I'm not going to totally nix you out, but we got to take things slow. Because until you're ready to die for me, you can't be my husband. And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? You said go to Matthew what, Azrael?
7 and 12.
This is Matthew 7 and 12. Therefore, all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets.
Right. So just like the brother said, even man to man, this is how we treat our spouse, right? So if you know for a fact sometimes reading is a burden to you, how about you know what I'm saying, practice reading out loud, right, before you get a spouse. That way, when you get a spouse, you know it's going to be a burden to them sometimes. So guess what? Y'all can sit down together And because you put yourself in that rhythm to read out loud, now you're reading for the both of y'all. And she can enjoy the reading, ask questions and stuff like that. Also, cleaning, you know what I'm saying? Well, I know I would want my bed made up, so let me just go ahead and make the bed up. You don't have to wait for the person to do it all the time. Like the brothers was bringing out, if you love yourself, you're gonna have certain things in your mind that you want, what you would want. Do those things that you would want, because guess what? That's you loving yourself and you loving your significant other as yourself. You want your bed made up? Well, make your bed up. You don't gotta wait for somebody. You want the dishes clean? Well, do the dishes sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Think ahead. Always be ahead and think about what you would want. You know what I'm saying? As far as even like talking this, like the brother was bringing out. Well, y'all might be in an argument and you might think of saying something and you got to think like, well, if this was me, I probably would want her to come at me like this. I probably would want him to come at me like this, and then respond in that way. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you know what I'm saying, love somebody as you love yourself, right? Always think about how you would want the situation to go and then act in that way. It says, for this is the law and the prophets. You know what I'm saying? King David, when he saw Saul and he had the knife in his hand and he could have killed Saul, he didn't kill Saul, right? He loved Saul and he did what he would have wanted if he was a wicked king. He would want somebody to give him mercy. You know what I'm saying? So this
not
is the
even
law.
a wicked king, just him in general, right? He wanted mercy. So hey, maybe if I show him mercy, he'll give me mercy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we got to do that, especially with our brothers and our sisters, right? You know what I'm saying?
That's why we see a lot of times. That's why we see a lot of times. Remember, you were a stranger in the land of Egypt, right? So we treat the strangers a certain way and blah, 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 blah. You know, that's the law and the prophets. And we get a lot of teaching from that, not only just how to deal with each other, man to man or woman to woman, but also in a household, in a spouse. So when you get your house in order, it's important to read the law and the prophets as well, because it's going to give you a lot of wisdom.
Come on, man, just reading over the testimonies and how our forefathers and foremothers treated each other, right? This is Ephesians 5:24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. So likewise, just like the men, you got things to think about. Women, you got things to think about too now, right? If you're not willing to be subject in everything to a man, right? It's almost like this, like when that man slide into your DM and you ask him that question, you know what I'm saying? Are you willing to die for me? Right? And he says, nah, not right now. Right? And you're like, okay, I'm not going to cancel you out, but we got to take things slow, because until you're ready to die for me, we can't be together. Right? And so, shalom, brother. And so same thing for the women. I'm led to believe that men can ask this question, right? Now, are you willing to be subject to me in everything? Right? And if she says no, I kind of gotta figure you out, right? You say, okay, I can respect that answer, but we gotta take things slow then, right? Because now both of you guys are coming to the understanding that, hey, look, we both have to figure some things that we got to know each other first, right?
Not even subject to me in all things. Just, are you willing to treat me like Christ? You know what I'm saying? Right. That's hard. You're not gonna backtalk Christ. Women were washing Christ's feet with their hair.
Right. You're not gonna chump literally. You're not gonna chump off Christ in text messages, right? Right. And if you literally got to pretend like you texting Christ, and you know Christ was an austere man. He might call a spirit in you in the text message and say, he might respond to you and say, "Get behind me, Satan." Right? How are you gonna respond? How dare you? Blah, 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 blah. And you don't treat me the same like you used to treat me before we got into a relationship. Blah, 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 blah. No, you're not gonna do that. You're not going to do that to Christ. So why are you doing that to your husband? Right? Same thing. Your husband come home from laboring all day, right? And he says, Can I get some food, man? I'm finna hop in the shower. You didn't think that? Tell me that before you got home. I got things I got planned to do, right? You're not gonna tell that to Christ. When Christ said, hey, somebody go prepare me something, right? Get it done ASAP. Right? Like the brother was saying, right? Washing his feet with their hair. I know a lot of y'all won't even wash your own husband's feet with hair. So if you would do it for Christ, why wouldn't you do it for your husband? Right?
Right, too. And Mary also poured that alabaster box of perfume and oils all on his feet, bruh. Hey, and that box was worth a lot of money. A lot of these women, right? They wouldn't give their last piece of chicken to their man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these women, they wouldn't call their man in the drive-through at Chick-fil-A. You know what I'm saying? They don't be thinking about their man. You know what I'm saying? But the way women treated Christ in the Bible, everything's written for our learning. That's how you got to treat your husband. You got to treat your husband just like Christ, because that's what Christ wants for your godly men. He wants them to feel like him. And I can confidently say that because it's in scripture.
And not only that, you're not doing this for your husband, right? You're doing this for your own salvation, right? You made the choice to get a husband, right? So you got to make the choice to love him. A lot of people would say, hey, look, we're not doing arranged marriages no more. And you know what I'm saying? We're not doing concubines, this, that, and the third. We got the right to choose our husband. But now, to whom much is given, much is required. You chose to be with a husband. Now you have to choose to do the right things that come with it. You got to be subject unto that man now, as you were subject unto Christ. And it's not to make your husband feel happy, but it's to make Christ feel happy. Because if you disrespect that man, it's like you disrespecting Christ. And that's one thing our women have to think about. Before you do anything, before you respond, before you go out in the street, keep in mind that you're in reputation of your husband, right? And he's in reputation of you, right? This is Proverbs 5. You got something? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, this is Proverbs 5:18. Let thy fountain be blessed and rejoice with the wife of thy youth, right? One thing I tell brothers when it comes to the argument of polygyny, whether it's lawful, whether it's not, one, it is lawful, right? And for brothers, you should always have two wives, right? And your first wife should be the wife of your youth. What does this mean? That you had a wife when you were 7 years old? No, the wife of your youth is talking about wisdom, right? Wisdom should be your first wife before you even get your second. When you get your first fleshly wife, she should be your second wife at that time, right? She should be your second wife because your first wife should be wisdom. And how do we know we get this wisdom, right? What is wisdom? The law, statutes, and commandments, right? And so once we are diligent in the law, statutes, and commandments and seeking God first, then we can go ahead and get that wife, right? Because we're gonna know how to treat her. You know what I'm saying? How to treat ourselves, right? How to conduct ourselves, right? You know, what to fall back on if all hell breaks loose.
Con, if I may add too, man, brothers got to stop being the type of brothers to, try to be talking to women and then, all you preaching is submission, man. If I know anything, when it comes to the understanding that brothers are making the analogy with women treating us like Christ, true, that's in scripture. But also, brothers, you got to act like Christ to be treated like Christ. You know what I'm saying? You can't be sitting up here acting like a neighborhood Negro and telling your wife that she need to submit to you. If you not, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been saying, like the brother just brought out, mighty precept, wisdom. If you're not out here keeping commandments, if you're not out here, diligently building yourself up, if you're not out here telling women, trying to teach women, trying to lead, you know what I'm saying? Then you don't need to be sitting up here acting as if that, well, regardless of whether I'm not doing anything for the kingdom, her job to get to the kingdom is, you know what I'm saying, to act like that unto me. No, because you don't want to beguile a woman into marrying you. You're going to be held responsible for everything that you do. If you say you a man of the Most High, then be a man of the Most High. Be exactly that. Give these women, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a saying. I seen it on Twitter one time. It was madness, but the girl said, women would naturally submit to a man. I forgot what the post said, but I think it said something about a woman would naturally submit to a man who submits to her, something like that. Now, the post was madness because, like we said, there is order and structure. But if I'm reading it with spiritual eyes, man, I think about it like this. If a man submits himself under the Christ and under the Most High, you'll naturally have a woman that does everything that she's supposed to do for you, because even you are submitting to the person and doing everything for the person that you're supposed to submit to. So that's what I'm trying to make the analogy of and bringing it together. It's just that brothers cannot be pharisaical husbands. Be the husband that you want your wife to be unto you. If you want your wife to treat you like you're Christ, live your life as if you're Christ. Don't go out here and start saying that you're the Christ, but go out here and keep these laws. Go out here and give reverence to your wife as she is the church. Love your wife as yourself. Go ahead.
Salakia too, because Christ wasn't around here begging nobody to follow him. It's either you followed him or you didn't. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't begging women to act the way they was towards him, right? Everybody that did stuff is a simple phrase. This real recognize real. If you a real man, your wife is gonna recognize that, and she's gonna want to treat you like Christ. You know what I'm saying? If not, then that's her lot, her portion, and she got to work out her own salvation. But like the brother is saying, be like Christ, man, and that's how the Most High God will allow things to be drawn unto you.
Come, man. The Book of Sirach says, "Don't be a lion in your household," right? You don't want to be a lion in your household, taking over and constantly being that bully, right? Constantly making your wife feel like she's a servant or a slave, right? What the brother was saying was amazing, and Azrael took the words out my mouth, right? Because Christ wasn't going around here begging folks to follow him, right? He wasn't trying to convince people every time he turned around. He said what he had to say, right? And that was that. And the main thing that people follow him for is because they knew that following him meant freedom, and it didn't necessarily mean slavery, right? I'm watching a show, right? And it's called, and you guys might know, it's called Game of Thrones, right? And they got this one girl. Well, everybody else is tyrants.
You guys might know,
huh?
That's it. You guys might know. It's the top show in like for 2 or 3 years, man, bro.
Hey, I just started Game of Thrones, right? Now everybody's ruling. Everybody ruling, and they're tyrants, right? But there's this one girl, man. She go by Khaleesi, right? And she's the mother of the dragons. And the way she rules is the way a man should rule his household. Because what does she do? She promotes freedom. And she one of the things that she does after she conquers a city and she frees the slaves, she says, "Hey, today you are free men and women, right? If you want to leave right now, no one's stopping you. But if you want to serve me and you want to fight for our cause, it's on you." And everybody ends up staying. Why? Because they know that they're free and they want to serve her, right? And so she's coming to set them free, just like Christ come. Just like Christ come. Christ didn't come to make our life harder. Christ is coming to set us free. Same thing for as a husband. When you get a wife, you shouldn't get a wife to make her life harder. You're getting a wife to make her life easier. Just like she's gonna make your life easier, you should also be making her life easier. Khan,
hey, look, man, and that's just going to show that, hey, sometimes, bro, when it comes to pursuing a spouse, you got to think about just some of the things that you have to, like we say, some of the things you have to check off, you know what I'm saying, even as yourself before you acquire one, right? TV shows and everything that's going on in the world. I had a point in my head that the brother was making when he said something about Game of Thrones, but I think the point that left me, man. But I want to say that, hey, when it comes to pursuing a spouse, just know that it's not something to be taken lightly. I don't think nobody ever takes it lightly, because at the end of the day, if you are pursuing a spouse, you know that truthfully, this person is going to be the person that you're with for the rest of your life when you make that agreement, that pact, right? But definitely take it a lot more serious than you do now. I'm not saying be butthole Bruce, or, you know what I'm saying, be just the sister that just like can't give no brother attention, you know what I'm saying, unless he break a prophecy down or something like that. But I'm saying, like, as far as taking it more serious, as in, looking at yourself differently. You're worth having a husband, right? Sisters, you're worth having a husband. No woman in this world I ain't gonna say that because I'm not the Most High. What I would say is that the Most High made women for the man. If you're a man, brother, you're worth having a wife. You have to look at yourself like you're worth it, because that's some things too. I think definitely we got to do a part 2 about this, because I definitely want to go into a lot of the materialism that also plays in pursuing our spouse. You know what I'm saying? There's so much materialism and fleshly things in the world that can build us up or tear us down when it comes to seeking a spouse. Because even though we're in the truth, man, a lot of people still have like Babylonian mindset when it comes to having this, having that, and the third. When it comes to having a wife or a husband, you know, you're worth a wife, you're worth a husband. You know what I'm saying? No matter how good you look, this, that, and the third. Hey, there's somebody out there for everybody. I'm a firm believer in that. You know what I'm saying?
Whether they be a wicked portion or a righteous portion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's always
like I know the brother earlier was giving a testimony, but you know, just like the brother Yeshaya just said, it's somebody for everybody. Am I frozen?
No, you good.
Yeah, so it's somebody for everybody, you know what I'm saying? Even if you came into this truth and you got a past and you might have a kid, you might be a single mom or a single dad. Somebody's out there for you, you know what I'm saying? So don't give up hope, you know. Always pray to the Most High God to lead you to the right person, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
Because it's never too breathing.
Hey man, check it out, man. We know a brother, man, and hey, look, if the Most High can give him a wife just like him, I know he can give a wife to anybody, right? Hey, this brother, man, rolling around in the mud, right? I'm talking about he lives out in the woods like he Esau. You know, no, I'm playing. But if what I'm saying is the brother had a personality that was so vibrant and so different to the point where it's like, dang, man, if the Most High can build up a wife that's just like him, right? He can build up a wife for anybody. I got two more precepts.
You said rolling around.
Hey, if you got eyes to see and ears to hear.
Hey, no cap though. Hey, I definitely used to roll around in the mud in my day. You feel me? So it's like, if I can get a wife, I know that there's brothers and sisters out here that can definitely get a wife. If I can get a wife, I know y'all can get a wife. You know what I'm saying?
Or husband.
Or husband, right?
This principle I want to get out, man, is very important, right? I'll start at verse 28. Right, it's 1 Corinthians 7:28. But and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. Now I'm gonna start at verse 29. Verse 29. But I say this, brethren, the time is short, meaning we're at the end of the last days, right? It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none, right? You got to be able to when you get this wife, when you get this husband, to still remain like you have none. What is it talking about? Well, you can't let your husband or your wife be a distraction, right? We can't let these rewards and gifts be a distraction or a stumbling block. What does it mean by it, be as if you had none? Because what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to be doing when you don't have a wife or when you don't have a husband? What are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be diligently in this truth, right? You're supposed to be doing these law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, putting these righteous, rehearsing the righteous acts, right? This is what you're supposed to be doing when you don't have a husband or a wife. So when Paul says, brethren, right, that both they that have wives be as though they had none, he's letting you know, hey, look, even if you get a wife, it should be like you don't have a wife, right? If you're reading X amount every day, this is just an example, right? If you're reading five chapters every day, when you get a wife, that number shouldn't dwindle. You shouldn't go down to reading 2, right? It should be like if you never had a wife. So you should still be at 5, if not more, right? If you're giving alms every week, once you get a wife, that shouldn't stop, right? If you're spreading the gospel, if you're evangelizing, that shouldn't stop, right? That's why he says, though they have wives, it should be as if they had none. Because when we get rewards, they're not to hinder us, right? Rewards are good, but you don't want that reward to be a stumbling block. That goes with having children, right? That goes with getting a house, getting a new vehicle, all of these things, right? You don't get the reward and say, okay, remember the analogy I used about the little boy or the little girl wanting a puppy, and the parent said, okay, you gotta make straight A's this semester, right? And then we'll get you that puppy. You can't make straight A's, right? As soon as you get the puppy, now you failing all your classes, right? what kind of sense does that make? You know what I'm saying? Once you get this puppy, you still got to take this dog out, clean up after it, all of that stuff. If he gets into trouble, you got to, you know what I'm saying, take care of your dog. And you still got to make straight A's, right? The work don't stop.
Hey, Con. Hey, that's mighty too, because I want to make not a conundrum, but I want to make a, you know what I'm saying, a conjunction, right? So it's just like this. The Most High gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to keep in order to get into the land, right? To keep them while we're actually in the land, right? Because he gave us a promise that he would give us this land. We got in the land. He told us if we keep them, you know what I'm saying, we'll inherit all these things. Now, of course, we broke them, right? But that's just like manifold, because even with having law, statutes, and commandments, when you receive the promises, you're even actually supposed to go harder in the spirit and in the truth for the Father than before. I don't
Ashton, read Salakia. Ashton, go back up. You got to read 32, 33, and 34 because it explains what you were saying. But go ahead. My bad.
Con, let me read this. Let me read this for you. You can break it down. It said verse 32.
All right.
But I would have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried care for the things that belongeth to the Lord, how he may please the Lord.
Come on, man. And like the brother said, man, I should have just let the scripture speak, right? If any man speak, let him speak of the oracles of God, because this says it perfectly. He that is unmarried cares for the things that belong to the Lord, right? And that's just talking to you about the person that's unmarried, what they should be concerned with. A lot of us aren't concerned with the things that belong to the Lord, right? What belong to the Lord, right? His children, right? His law, statutes, and commandments. We should be having care for these things, right? How we may please the Lord. We should be diligently seeking how we can please the Lord. We want to get pleased. I want you to give me a wife so she can please me, but I don't please you. That's not how it works. So he says, he that is unmarried, if you're unmarried, what should you be doing? To get whatever you want, what should you be doing? You should be caring for the things that belong to the Lord and how to please the Lord, right? Verse 33. But he that is married cares for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife, right? He's showing you that, hey, look, once you get a wife, once you get a husband, now different things are going to come into capacity with caring for the Lord. Now you got to share your love with the Lord with your wife, right? And Paul's just being real. Paul's just being real. Now you got to share the love with your Lord with your husband, right? Yeah, first in our relationships, but him coming first in our relationship means that something comes afterwards. So now we got to share it. And all he's saying is it would be smart for you to get a wife and not even share that love, you know what I'm saying, with your wife, right? If you got ears to hear. Because at the end of the day, right, how are you supposed to love the Most High God? If you're not willing to deny your mother, your brother, your father, right, your wife, right, your children for this truth, then, hey, look, you're not doing your job.
Right. And I was going to say, too, you know, Paul was saying that, you know, even though you're married, to live unmarried for these reasons, because, you know what I'm saying, that verse 33 is pretty much First Ezra chapter 4. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give everything to a wife. We kill for a wife. We are jealous for wives. We spend all our money on wives. You know what I'm saying? Everything is for our women, but also vice versa. But the point I want to make is this, you know what I'm saying? You have to be prudent. That might be like my word of the year. You got to be prudent. You got to think, why am I marrying this person? Am I marrying this person just because of how they look, or their accent is nice, or I can't wait to do X, Y, and Z with this person? Because whoever you marry, you got to be ready to chastise yourself even in that marriage, and still give yourself to the Most High God and not let that marriage distract you. Now all you want to do is go on dates. All you want to do is eat. All you want to do is take pictures. All you want to do is the nasty. You know what I'm saying? You have to keep your mind on the Most High God. And sometimes that might require you to chastise yourself and say, hey, babe, guess what? We're not going to have sex for a month. Or, hey, babe, guess what? We're not going to do X, Y, and Z for a month. Instead, we're going to replace it with this. Let it be reading or fasting or praying, because that's how the Most High God wants you. That's what Paul's teaching. Be as if you were not married.
Man. You say something real quick, or
you go ahead, brother.
And just to piggyback on what you were saying, man, an example would be not to put the brother on Front Street, but we know a brother, you know what I'm saying, he found the love of his life and whatnot. And one thing that I noticed, one thing that I think several people noticed, even himself, I believe, and I can say that because he made a post today, right? As soon as he met this girl, I told him, I said, dang, bro, you don't do the things that you used to do no more. I ain't see you out there, you know what I'm saying, doing the things that you used to, right? Because that woman came in his life, and although it gave him joy, she does occupy some more of that time that he had in the past, where he could be freely do some of the things that he liked to do, right? Not saying that what he was doing was, you know what I'm saying, what he was doing was, it was truth related in a sense, but it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, diligently seeking the Lord. But I'm just using that as an example, right? And I can make this statement because he goes on to make a post today, and he made a post doing what he used to do and says, I told y'all I still got it. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows deep down inside, hey, look, hey, I ain't been out here. I ain't been outside. You know what I'm saying? The brother been inside. You know what I'm saying? And so, like the brother was saying, what Paul is trying to get us to understand is that when we get into these relationships, it should be like we weren't in these relationships. And he told us what we're supposed to be doing if we're not in a relationship, constantly concerned about the Lord and how to please the Lord.
Right. And I want to elaborate. That's important because at the end of the day, it don't matter, bro, if you married or not. You end of the day, your main purpose is to serve the Most High God. That's what we're here for. We're not here to sit up here and, you know, be in love land and argue with your partner about your love language and argue with your partner about this, that, and the third. Spend time scrolling up and down social media looking for a partner. No, your main goal is to please the Most High God. It doesn't matter if you're married. You're married is not going to save your soul. You know what I'm saying? Being married is not going to make the kingdom come any sooner than what it should. You know what I'm saying? So you have to understand that at the end of the day, whether you're, like I said, you're worth more to the Most High than to not have a, you know what I'm saying, a partner. But say you never, ever, ever on this side of life get a spouse, then what shall you do? Shall you just leave it up to like, man, well, Most High forsake me, you know what I'm saying? Woe is me, I ain't never. No. At the end of the day, be the Most High God's wife. Be the Most High God's husband. You know what I'm saying? Let the Most High be your husband. You know what I'm saying? Be a wife unto the Most High. Do the things that he requires you to do. Submit to him. Because at the end of the day, that's what is the main goal. That's the end goal. Don't think that like, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, man, like the brother was saying, this truth should be enough. Right? We shouldn't find ourselves being desperate.
Right.
This truth, because this truth should cover the gaps, right? And if the truth's not covering the gaps, now you got to go back to the drawing board because now something doesn't sit right with your spirit because you're concerned about something that you shouldn't be concerned with. Again, not saying that it's wrong to want a husband or a wife, but when you get to the point where you feel desperate, now that's where the problem lies, right?
Yes.
Salakia.
And don't, like what brother's saying, just don't be that desperate brother or sister. Because at some point, yes, you know, even to my older brother and sister, you know, as you get older, you move along, you move forward, this, that, and the third, you're aging in life. Maybe you didn't come into the truth until your later years. Now you're looking for a righteous man to be with. Well, don't be that desperate sister seeking a righteous man, you know what I'm saying, out of desperation. Take a time out, put your brakes on, put the e-brake on, and sit back and root yourself in the Most High first. Root yourself in him first. Because at the end of the day, whether you have children or not, husbands, whether you're a man that never gets a woman or not, at the end of the day, you can't sit up here and complain to the Most High, man, you never gave me a rib. Or you can't complain to the Most High, you never gave me a head. No. You have to root yourself in the word because your job is to please him first and foremost. That's what you're supposed to do with your partner. Which is why what Paul was speaking on is very great. My bad, brother Azrael. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, can you pull up Wisdom of Solomon 3:14 real quick?
Come on, man. Just to piggyback on what the brother was saying, that's madness when you think about it, bro. Because in the world, we don't expect to get married until we're 35, 40, right? And then we come into this truth, and then we're like, oh, I gotta get a rib ASAP. So you have all that patience in the world, but you come in the truth. Now you want a wife or a husband ASAP, right?
No, they demanding one on their knees every night.
ASAP. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
right.
you especially if you new into this truth, I speak as a man, but I would say, hey, slow your roll until you get more acclimated. Unless you can find somebody that's new in this truth and that's very like-minded like you, and both y'all can grow together. I would say slow your roll, especially for women, because you can get beguiled easily, right? You want to know what you're doing in this thing if you're a woman, right? You want to know the right man to get with, you know what I'm saying, if you're a woman. You don't want to, move too hastily. You said Wisdom of Solomon what?
3 and 14.
The brother done froze. Okay, 3 and 14.
3 and 14.
3 and what?
He said 3 and 14.
14.
Okay, I thought he said 3 and 1 for some.
Nah, you know that $55 Wi-Fi. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Brother got Boost Mobile Wi-Fi, Sprint, Internet Explorer,
AT&T.
All right, Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 14. And blessed is the eunuch, which was with his hands. The eunuch.
Right. Blessed is the eunuch. Now, if you know what a eunuch is, right? So, hey, Paul wasn't going off when Paul said, I wish you would be as I, right? Wisdom of Solomon, King Solomon, who had many wives, said what? Blessed is the eunuch, right? So guess what? A eunuch is somebody that was oftentimes neutered or castrated, what you want to say?
Gelded.
Yelded or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A eunuch is just somebody that abstains and is chastised till death, right? From sex. But guess what? A eunuch, you could also be a spiritual eunuch. I believe that this is what Wisdom of Solomon is talking about, right? So it says, blessed is the eunuch. We got to chastise ourselves in many different ways. And that's what we've been going over today is self-control, right? Keep reading, please.
Which with his hands has wrought no iniquity, nor imagine wicked things against God.
Right. So that's chastisement, right? Because if you're a eunuch spiritually, or if you're a eunuch physically, you're chastising yourself for a purpose, right? You're not, like we always say, all things are lawful, but all things aren't expedient, right? We know we get wicked thoughts when we're lonely. We know we do things in haste sometimes, but if you're a eunuch, you're enduring that chastisement, right? Can you keep reading, please?
For unto him shall be given the special gift of faith.
Right. And so we could parallel this, what we're talking about tonight. If you chastise yourself and pretend like you're a eunuch, before I got married, I told people, I said, man, I am so confident in the Most High and I love the Most High so much. If it's my lot to be a eunuch, I'll be a eunuch. And when I was able to come to grips with that, he finally gave me a spouse. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't overnight. I had to come to the conclusion and lean on him all the way and seek him first diligently and come to the conclusion, like, if I'm going to be a eunuch, I'm going to be a eunuch, man. I'll just have to be like Paul. And then he gave me the special gift of faith, like this scripture just said, right? Keep reading, Baba Kasha.
Khan, an inheritance in the temple of the Lord, more acceptable to his mind.
Right. So you're going to get something that you more than what you prayed for, right? If you just chastise yourself, if you practice patience right now, if you refrain from your lustful desire to have a spouse, then you'll get that spouse.
Khan, man. I want a quick little sidebar, but it's a sidebar within a sidebar, man. It's because it's still concerning the eunuch, right? In the series Game of Thrones, right? There's a eunuch, and I think he's probably one of the wisest characters in the whole show, right? And he's a master manipulator, this, that, and the third, but I think he's the wisest character in the whole show who's acquired the most wisdom from all sides, right? And one thing in him is there was a scene where he said, I've witnessed what pleasure comes with, right? The ups and the downs and whatnot. And for me not to enjoy or have part in that, it sets me up for a whole lot more behind the scenes that people don't even realize, right? Paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying? And I was thinking to myself, man, I was like, man, just understanding being a eunuch, and And in the show that he was gelded, he didn't have any man parts, so this, that, and the third. And I was just saying, like, dang, man, if I was a eunuch and I didn't have any man parts, I literally, like, it's crazy just thinking to myself, right now, if I didn't have any man parts, there would be no lust in me, bro. Like, even if I were to see a shapely woman or something like that, like, my mind would go nowhere because I have nothing to show. I have nothing to show for. I can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And to put your mind in the mind of a eunuch, right? And to see like their whole life is easily devoted to the Most High God because they don't have no one else to share with. It's just it's a interesting thing to put your mind in the hands of, which the brother Azrael did, right? And I think that's kind of powerful. Do brothers have any closing precepts or like that? I got one closing precept. I want to save it to the end.
I got one. Can you go to John 7:24?
Here go another sermon. No, I'm just messing with you.
You said what?
John 7:24. It's gonna be quick. It goes with a tweet that I just saw on Twitter. Right, a brother said every lion ain't a king. You know what I'm saying? So it goes right with John 7:24. It says,
John
judge
7,
not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment.
Right, going back to Leviticus, right? Leviticus talks about this too. Judge righteous judgment. So for my women out there, guess what? Just because he looked like a mighty man on YouTube or a mighty man on Instagram or a mighty man on Twitter, just because he looked like a mighty man, guess what? Every lion ain't a king. And my fellas, just because she looked like she's a virtuous woman and her price is far above rubies, doesn't mean that she is that woman.
you got to prove gold.
Right. You can't be hasty to credit these people based off of appearance. Judge not according to the appearance. Some of these people look the part. They sound the part, right? The brother Yeshaya went over what? Just because they read, just because they pray, just because they fast, all those things you can physically see with your eye. Just because they do these things, it could just be, you know what I'm saying, a repetitive thing. They're just doing it the word escapes me. They're just going through the motions, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, are these brothers sincere that you're looking into? Are these women genuine that you're looking into? You know what I'm saying? So love at first sight is a thing, but also it's not a thing. You know what I'm saying? Judge not according to the appearance. Every lion is not a king. Shalom.
Come, man. And just saying that, man, just knowing that judge not according to appearance, don't expect a man to live up to expectation either, right? Just because he's a man in his truth, don't judge him off of him being a man in his truth and him living up to an expectation of being a husband. Either he's a husband now, either she's a wife now, or they're not, right? You got to figure that out. You got to
a closing statement. I want to bring out, if you could go to a Proverbs 26, and let me see, I had it written down. I will go to Proverbs 26 and 30. I mean 36 and not Proverbs. Excuse me, Sirach 36 and 24. Right.
You said 26?
26 and 3. Salakia, 26 and 3. I was going to do 36 and 24, but we can go to 26 and 3.
And like the brother Hassan, you know what I'm saying, in the chat, like he said, right? Brother could jump out the gym, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Miles College basketball player right there, man. Good friend and brother in the truth now. All praise to the Most High. But like he said, man, my brother watched the Game of Thrones. He knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? He says his pleasure part was cut off, and dude was not controlled by sexual thoughts and could make any move he wanted, right? He was the master chess player, right? And it's a crazy thing to put your mind in the mind of a eunuch, bro, and it does give you power, right? But let's go here. Sirach 26 and verse number 3.
Right. It says that a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear the Lord. So, brothers, it's a message to the brothers, man. Hey, look, if you want a good wife, if that's a good portion, then you got to fear the Lord. That's the only way you're going to get that, right? Because you can also get a wicked woman. It says a wicked woman is a portion of a wicked man, you know? So, hey, brothers, you have to fear the Lord, you know? We can't stress it enough, man. How do you fear the Lord? Hey, you got to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? You know, that's not going to be enough to save you either them physical actions. You got to have that faith too, right? What does Revelation 14 and 12 say? Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Reading it as, saying it as written, right? But, hey, just want to say one more else thing. Through the Spirit, most high willing, we're going to have to do a part 2 to this. I'm looking at tomorrow because definitely a lot more that I want to go into when it comes to, you know, seeking a spouse, you know, looking for a spouse. I mean, there's so much more that we can go into because it's so much more that brother and sister might need to understand. It's a lot of things, but Lord willing, this was edifying. This is a mighty lesson by the Captain Donald, man, and the Captain Azrael. But sheesh, and sign off.
Come, man. And so this is a good mighty precept. I was actually gonna bring this precept out in the next video, bro. But you know what I'm saying, through the Spirit, you know what I'm saying, you laid it on here. And so a good wife is a good portion, man. And just thinking about this in a preliminary aspect, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes a gift can destroy the heart. You can be asking for a wife the whole time, right? And your mind isn't focused on what it should be focused on. And so the Most High God will say, "Oh, you want a wife so bad? Well, I'm gonna give you a wife, and she's gonna be according to what you where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Just to show you that you wasn't ready, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a wife, and that wife might be wicked. You know what I'm saying? You got to be diligent to get that good wife, that good portion, right? I'm gonna end on this one. It's a precept in Sirach. It's the last verse in Sirach, right? Last verse. And this is all we trying to say, right? This is Sirach 51 and 30. Right? And this is how you receive a wife or a husband from the Most High, right here. Sirach 51 and 30. Work your works betimes, and in his time he will give you your reward. So what is this? What is it saying? Hey, do what's required of you. Handle what you can handle, right? Anything that's in your control, you control that. And what is that, right? Having to care to please the Most High, right? Do that work. The work where Christ says, any man putting their hand to this plow, looking back, that work, right? Be diligent in that work. Be times. And in his time, whose time? The Most High. When the Most High deems, okay, you don't put in enough work, then he will give you your reward. And you got to trust that the Most High is going to give it to you in a time where, you know what I'm saying, is more conducive and beneficial for you. So like we say, and it's like Brother Azrael was saying earlier in the video, he was saying, hey, look, man, you might say I'll never get a wife. I'll never get a husband, this, that, and the third. But you got to understand, I've witnessed, and we've all witnessed, all the brothers on here don't witness, people say, hey, man, I don't think I'm ever going to get married. And then within 1 year, they're married with children, right? So these things can happen, right? Faster than you believe. You might think that you're at the end. You might think that you're too old. You might think that, you know what I'm saying, you're too ugly. You might think that no one's personality works with yours. You know, God can mold somebody just for you. You know what I'm saying? And it can happen overnight. Well, it can seem like it happens overnight when you're doing the right things. When your mind's not focusing and concerned on that, these things will develop faster and behind the scenes, faster than you can think of. One minute you were soaking and you were mourning. Next thing you know, you're in your house and you're looking, and your wife on the couch watching the TV with your kids, and you're like, dang, I ain't never think I'd be here right now. You know what I'm saying? And vice versa for the women, right? So Sirach 51 and 30, work your works betimes, and in his time, he will give you a reward. Lord willing, we can get back on here and we can kind of dive into this topic again tomorrow. And I'll say I also want to kind of get into you know, once you solidify that husband or that wife, the steps, or you know what I'm saying, the order that you should be going into after that as well. Maybe we can get a video on that as well. But we at 2 hours and 14 minutes, man. It's been a pleasure.
Might have to make a part 3 too. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this was a mighty lesson through the spirit. Hopefully we can get into one. We can probably just do Thursday and Friday, to be honest, and just get it all out like that. But I'm Brother Donal.
Hey, look, I'm Brother Yeshaya.
And we're the hopeful elect. Brother Azrael had to be dismissed early, but thank you guys for tuning in. Y'all study hard. What's the name? Nationwide fast, man. If you're up for it, nationwide fast is from tonight till tomorrow night. No food, no water, right? And you can possibly fast for that husband or that wife, right? So with that, we say shalom. Y'all have a good night.